30 years after gaining independence, the United States found itself back at war, with the same empire it had fought to escape. But this time, the stakes were different, and so was the battlefield. The War of 1812 wasn't just a random conflict, it was a storm long in the making. While Britain was locked in a global war with Napoleon, they treated American neutrality like a joke. British ships seized American cargo, captured sailors, and forced over 10,000 into the Royal Navy, a practice called impressment. In Congress, a group known as the War Hawks, young, fiery leaders like Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun demanded war to defend national honor and possibly conquer Canada. President James Madison, under growing pressure, finally asked Congress for a declaration of war. On June 18, 1812, the United States declared war on the British Empire. The early phase of the war was a mess for the U.S. The first major campaign, invading Canada. The result, embarrassing failures. American General William Hull surrendered Detroit without firing a shot. Other invasions failed due to poor planning, poor leadership, and disorganization. Meanwhile, Native American tribes, especially the Shawnee under the leadership of Tecumseh, allied with the British to resist American expansion. At the Battle of the Thames, 1813, Tecumseh was killed, a massive blow to the native resistance. At sea, America had some surprising victories. The U.S. Navy, small but scrappy, punched above its weight. The USS Constitution, nicknamed Old Ironsides, defeated several British ships and became a national symbol. The most important naval battles happened on the Great Lakes. In 1813, at the Battle of Lake Erie, Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry declared, "We have met the enemy and they are ours." This victory allowed the U.S. to retake Detroit and launch new campaigns into Canada. Slowly, the tide began to turn. In 1814, after defeating Napoleon, Britain focused fully on America. A massive British force invaded from the north and south. In August 1814, British troops marched into Washington, D.C. and burned the White House, Capitol, and other key buildings. But Americans resisted fiercely at Fort McHenry, near Baltimore. Under relentless bombardment, the U.S. flag stayed flying. A young lawyer named Francis Scott Key, watching from a British ship, wrote a poem, "Oh, Say Can You See, by the Dawn's Early Light." That poem became the Star-Spangled Banner. The war ended in late 1814 with the Treaty of Ghent, restoring pre-war borders. But due to slow communication, one last major battle was still to come. On January 8, 1815, General Andrew Jackson led a ragtag American force, frontiersmen, militia, pirates, against elite British troops at the Battle of New Orleans. The result? A stunning American victory. Over 2,000 British casualties versus fewer than 100 American losses. Jackson became a national hero and future president. Though the war ended in a stalemate, Americans saw it as a triumph. It sparked a new era of nationalism and confirmed the U.S. was here to stay. The War of 1812 was not just a war over ships and sailors. It was a war for respect, identity, and survival. A war that tested the young republic and proved it could stand its ground. This was the War of 1812, America's second war of independence.